I'm Lyndall. I am a fight director, a movement director, an actor, and a motion capture specialist. So I run a company called Captivate Action, which I formed in the UK back in 2013. I suppose anyone who's been in the industry for a while, we all do lots of things, don't we? It's very rare to find someone who goes, I'm just an actor. It's like,
yeah,
really?
I know, that's true. Yeah, no, we can't just have one thing.
Yeah, you're either actually not working or working all the time if you're just an actor.
What's your favourite thing to do?
Do you know what? I actually have variety. I get bored.
Yes. A lot of creatives.
Yeah. So, I was fortunate enough to be on a long-running show, and it was the most exciting show you could possibly be on. And it wasn't boring, but I find routine boring. And so when I do lots of acting, I want to go back and do fight directing. Then when I do lots of fight directing, I want to do teaching, and I do lots of teaching, and I want to go back and do acting. So I find I have to always have new things to keep me stimulated.
Yeah. How does it all overflow? How do you how's your time management skills?
Look, I've refined it by necessity. And it's a constant quest, actually, because this is always the thing, right? As a creative, you need more time to get some more money, but to get some more money, you need some more time, and then you're constantly trying to innovate that conundrum, innovate around that conundrum. No, my time is very full, very full. I mean, what I've had to learn is how to segment my brain. So while I'm on one job, I'm thinking about that job, and then being efficient with using the moments in between, which means, sitting in a cafe doing stuff, or just using those moments of downtime. The trap with that, particularly running your own business, is not giving yourself any time off, which I have absolutely fallen into in the past, and I have to be very rigorous with myself. But I have to make sure I program in rest as well.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
What does rest look like?
Problematic. I find, you know what? I was reading a thing on burnout the other day, and it's saying that people who are actually active find it hard to rest, and I do find it very hard to rest. And now I've discovered when I rest, I do have to make myself active. So going for a hike or going for a walk, that's rest. I just find it so hard to sit on the couch and do nothing. Rest can take different forms. So, rest could just be doing something different. And I think for me, and this is actually a post-pandemic thing, I find it hard to be at home because my mind is still super active. But if I go out for a hike, or a walk, then I find that I'm engaging with my environment, and therefore I don't sort of go back to the what I've discovered is called the default neural network, which is it's the part of your brain that you flip into as soon as you're not actively engaged. And apparently often has a negative bias as well. It's where we mull over the things that we imagine people are thinking or saying, and we sort of just start to churn things over in our head. We flip into it the second we're not either generating creative stuff ourselves, or if we're actually engaged with something external.
How do you look after your mental health when you're so busy and so much going on? What's your thing?
It's a constant endeavour. And in fact, I liken it to actually, because I have to keep my body in physical shape as well, and it's a very similar thing. I find that you constantly have to pay attention to it and be diligent with it. And when you leave it alone and forget it, then it all starts to go downhill. Not in a dramatic sense, but in an unproductive sense. So for mental health, I mean, setting boundaries I find is very important. Being unashamed and not guilty to say no to people, both professionally and personally. Just recognising that on a weekend now I just need downtime, so I can't have a coffee. I just need to not talk anymore.
Yes.
For me, actually, physical exercise is really important. Like just going for a walk and paying attention to stuff around me as I go. I think I'm quite pragmatic with my mental health. So when I recognise when I'm anxious or depressed or having imposter syndrome or in a negative state, I've become more philosophical about it, in sort of going, okay, well, what's causing this, and then what do I need to change? So, things like fear and stress and anxiety are actually motivating states to be in. And that's why they're there, to motivate us to do something. So if I'm anxious about something, it's like, well, okay, first of all, is this real? Is this actually something? Or is this just, my gut microbiome is off today? Or am I tired?
More about that.
Yeah, am I tired? Am I premenstrual? Is it actual anxiety, or is it just my physical status that I'm in right now? And then if it's actual anxiety, it's like, okay, great. Well, then if it's something real, like, hey, I'm about to walk into an audition, well, I'm anxious about it because it's something I really care about. So that's good, actually, because, you know, a little bit of stress will give me lots of extra sugar, blood flow, oxygen. So this is good. This is actually body helping me. Well done. Thank you, body. And then recognizing that if it's none of those things, that if it's not a productive thing because it's something which I will need, or if it's not due to a physiological state, I might just go, well, let's just not pay attention to this today then, because I don't think it's a real thing.
And how do you do that? How do you do it?
I decide not to. I just don't.
So it's a decision.
It's a decision. It's a decision. And what it is I focus on the job and I focus on the people around me. So as soon as I walk in and just go, me making this job work the best that I can today is what's most important, that actually tends to take my focus. I've been in the worst. I've had some really low points of my life happen, and then walk in to do some stage combat and just walk out feeling elated. So, you know, there is I cherish the privilege we have as performers that we can actually dive into our creative world, and actually that can be something which can help us to feel better.
I think finding that for who, if you know, even non-creative people, whatever it is that we do, finding that thing. I was talking about this yesterday about how exactly that, you feel garbage and then you pick, like for me, I pick up a camera, or I might, you know, I have to create something, you know, write a song or do something, you know what I mean? Something like that. And then all of a sudden, or even friends, like meeting up with friends, and you don't feel like it at all. You're like, I just want to stay in bed and cry. And I'm like, no, I know I have this one friend that no matter what state I'm in, she will just, you know, and then you spend 2 hours and you go home and you're like, sweet. Yeah. I'm so glad I did that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's such an important thing, no matter what job we have, to find that thing to go, yeah.
I don't know if other people feel the same way, but like, you know, I've often, I think if you're in the arts for like 25 years or 20 years, not that old, 5 years, there's something about you which means you don't fit into the normal bell curve of society.
Yeah.
Because most people, given the option, just go, you know what, I'm really sick of this insecurity. I just want some money coming in every week. And a lot of people do leave for that reason.
Yeah.
But every time I've sort of thought about that, there's just a repulsion. And I don't mean in a nasty way. I mean just like everything about me rebels and says, no, I can't.
I came from a finance family.
Right.
So I started, I left school and then went to finance.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing this and I'm at a desk and I remember every day I'd be like, there has to be more. Like, I can't, this is not for me. And it kills your soul.
It does.
And it's almost like we're kind of told not to be who we really are because it's not stable.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing that people probably come up with.
Yeah, I think people are projecting their fears, aren't they? Well, actually, no, it's not true. No. It is unstable. And you're like, actually, it is unstable. Can't get a mortgage. Yeah, it's quite bizarre. I mean, I've had people just say to me, like, oh, everyone else has to put up with doing stuff they don't like. Why shouldn't you? And it's like, well, actually, I have. First of all, like, I stuck out being a vet for 12 years and I hated it. And for my mental health, I would never go back ever again. For me, I equate being a creative with being alive. And I don't mean that again, like in a dramatic sense, but I mean, it's fundamental to my existence that I'm creative. And it's hard to describe that to people who don't necessarily have that compulsion. But like you said, I mean, there are people who do have that compulsion and are either through just financial circumstances or socio-economics or demographics or just through cultural conditioning aren't actually doing it. But it is also because society as a whole does make it harder. Like you have to fight.
You actually have to push against it. I found that.
Yeah, you have to be an idiot actually. Like you have to be a stubborn idiot to stay in the arts and constantly, when you are constantly faced with financial insecurity, to say, no, I'm going to stay here.
But that to me says I value, as you said, it's fundamental to my existence.
Yep.
And I value that and who I am and my mental health more than this financial stability.
100%.
I'll work that out. That comes second.
Right. And in fact, that should come second because it makes me less happy.
Do you think there's enough support for creatives and musicians, actors, in general for mental health?
No. But obviously with things like Support Act and the Wellbeing Hotline, I think that's phenomenal. And I think in light of the fact that we get shafted so often, the fact that someone is standing there saying, hey, we're here to help you out, is remarkable because we are so used to being deprived in most circumstances. I think actually most people don't know about it as well. Like I even knew it existed, but I only found out relatively recently, like 6 months ago, that you could actually get 12 free sessions you can get?
It's 10.
Or 10?
Yeah,
But anyway, any free sessions.
Anyway.
Any free
you.
sessions. I mean, it's amazing, actually.
Yeah. Have you had experience with Support Act yourself?
I haven't personally, but I anticipate I will.
I love that.
But I do.
We know that they're there.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, because I do have close friends who used it, and I was on a show where they came in and spoke to everyone about it. And I was actually musing on this because I think the reason why I haven't used it is a little bit like when someone gives you some nice soap and you save it for a good occasion. But then I also was thinking today, well, actually, I don't know if that's a good idea because, of course, if you don't use it, then people will perceive it's not needed and they'll pull it. So I thought, like, maybe I should, open that wrapper off the soap and at least start using it.
I like that. That's encouraging for other people.
Yeah.
I think listening to this going, I've been thinking about it, but I'm not sure. That's what it's there for.
That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
And like, when you actually do read the website, for example, like, it's not just, you should call someone when you're in crisis. It's, which of course you should, by the way. But it's just, you need a sounding board. You just need to talk to someone. You're worried about money or, worst thing you can do with any of those things is ignore them and burn yourself into the ground.
And neglect
it. And just put your head down, put your blinkers on and say, let me just drive through this. It's like, no.
Yeah.
No.
And know, like, your breaking point.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for me,
before you get there.
Yes, before you get there. Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Oh, yeah, missed the turn. Yeah, exactly. Because then okay, I'm getting close to the, now when you know yourself, now I need this, and this.
First time I learned about Support Act was they came in to speak to the cast of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which I was on for 3 years. I know there were a number of my colleagues on that show who did a number of times reach out to the support line, and that had so many good things to say about it. So it's, I think it can be quite isolating in our industry because I think as everyone has their own experience. Like, even if you are in a show, everyone's doing something different. It interplays with your personal life in a different way. Some people have kids, some people don't have kids, some people have a partner, some don't. And all of those combine in a way that it changes your experience of how you're dealing with what the industry brings you. So even if you're in a long-running show or if you're doing as a freelancer, literally no one has the same experience as you. And you can describe to people what that's like, but ultimately it's actually a lot of the time people you're talking to have their own version of things they're dealing with. So to have access to someone who can just be there to say, I'm hearing you now, like I'm here for you, you can talk about you, and they have an insight into the industry. So it's not that you have to go to, obviously going to any therapy is fantastic, but there's always a feeling, I think we have to explain our industry first.
Yeah.
And whether it's to a financial advisor or whether it's to a doctor, or you still have to explain where we're coming from. So to have someone who already has so much experience speaking to people within the art to go, yes, I haven't heard your problem, I've heard something similar, I understand where you're coming from. I think that's just so valuable. And I'm surprised that more people don't know about it. I think it's something we should be definitely singing from the rooftops. Yeah. Just do it, everyone, do it.